Incredible transformation. Millionaire reveals hidden potential of cleaner studying in darkness. Maria sat in the dim light of her flickering bulb, surrounded by a sea of worn-out books scattered all over the tiny kitchen table. Each one whispered possibilities to her possibilities she yearned for yet felt so far away. After a long shift cleaning the sleek offices of the corporate building, the weight of her single motherhood pressed heavily on her chest. At 32, dreams felt like distant stars, twinkling just out of reach in this small Midwestern town, where every hope seemed eclipsed by economic struggle. But here she was, a fierce lioness in the stillness, pouring everything into her studies, determined to rewrite her future, and Lucas's. Lucas, her bright-eyed 10-year-old, had drifted off to sleep, his sweet face framed by the soft glow of the night lamp. She could hear his gentle breaths, each one a reminder of what she was fighting for. The rustle of papers filled the silence as she scribbled notes and jotted down ideas for a business that could elevate lives, like hers, overshadowed and unnoticed. Yet whispers of doubt clawed at her mind. Would they really consider her a cleaner? When Miles, the wealthy businessman, stumbled upon her late that night, curiosity sparked in his eyes as he watched her with unwavering focus. Something in her fierce determination seemed to resonate with him. In that moment, Maria felt seen, an unfamiliar warmth flushing through her. But as she attended community meetings, the whispers turned sharper, laced with judgment. A cleaner with ideas? What could she possibly know? They belittled her every time Miles stood up in her defense. This only intensified the flames inside her. She wanted to scream back that her worth wasn't defined by her job but by her dreams, her struggles, and her fight for a better life. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Days turned into weeks as Maria poured herself into preparing for the local pitch contest, a chance that could change everything. The stakes grew higher as she trained tirelessly, battling insecurities like shadows in her mind. Her innovative concept aimed to empower hardworking individuals just like her. She imagined standing on that stage, pouring out her soul and sparking a connection. Just as the day of the contest arrived, an unexpected tension crept in. The auditorium filled with anxious anticipation. Maria stood backstage, heart racing, drumming against her ribcage with each pulse. The crowd hushed. But then, as she stepped into the bright lights, the unthinkable happened. The lights flickered and suddenly plunged the entire room into darkness. Gasps echoed, and murmurs swirled around her like a whirlwind. In this moment of chaos, Maria faced a choice. Would she stay silent, lost in the enveloping shadow, or rise up, igniting a spark of hope in the darkness? Her heart leaped in determination. This was her moment. Everything she had sacrificed led to this. As silence settled in, the question hung in the air. Could she find her voice and claim her worth? Maria felt the darkness wrap around her, thick and suffocating. It pressed in like a heavy blanket, yet within that silence, she sensed a flicker of energy and opportunity. The audience as gasps echoed, but instead of panic, a calm resolve washed over her. She could either retreat and let this moment slip away or seize it, turn the chaos into a catalyst. "Can you hear me?" she called into the dark, her voice steady and clear. The murmur shifted, rippling through the crowd as if they were waking from a dream. "I don't need fancy lights to share my story." Maria took a deep breath, drawing strength from the shadows. "I'm Maria. I'm a single mother, a cleaner, and I have dreams. Of course, This was not what anyone expected. The silence that fell afterward outlined her courage, a bold stroke against the unseen canvas. With every word she shared, images danced in her mind, the struggles of a tired mother after a long day, the dreams crumpled between the burden of bills, the light of a hopeful son who believed in her. I believe in the power of one person to inspire many. I want to create a platform where stories like mine matter, where voices like ours are heard. As her words filled the darkness, a peculiar thing happened. The overhead lights sparked back to life one by one, illuminating the faces of those gathered. The audience blinked in this sudden brightness, but when they looked at her, it wasn't with pity, it was with understanding, admiration. Maria felt a pulse of energy surge within her as she pressed on. There are so many hardworking people out there. My plan is to build a network that uplifts them, to provide resources and support, to guide them as they tread their own paths against the odds. Just like I am. She saw Miles in the front row, nodding firmly, his expression a mix of pride and encouragement. In his gaze, she found reassurance. Every doubt she had battled before now faded, replaced by a determination that burned bright. Maria continued, pouring out her heart, envisioning a community that thrived on collaboration rather than competition. As she finished, a wave of applause erupted. It felt like a tidal force, crashing around her, lifting her off her feet, and carrying her into uncharted waters. They were not applauding just her idea but recognizing her strength, vulnerability, and raw ambition. Yet, as the noise settled, Maria's heart began to race again. What came next? She had felt exhilaration, but was it enough? Would this be the breakthrough she'd long dreamed of, or just a fleeting moment of recognition? A nagging thought crept back in. Would the naysayers still question her worth when they discovered she was just a cleaner after all? The results of the contest would be declared soon, and it felt like a lifetime waiting. Hushed whispers around her hinted at opinions shifting, yet the specter of doubt still loomed. As she stepped down from the stage, her body still buzzing with electric energy, she caught a glimpse of Lucas peering from the back, hope sparkling in his eyes. But would this moment change their lives? Would it be enough for Lucas to see her not just as his mother, but as a woman who dared to dream big? As questions echoed in her mind, she turned to leave the auditorium, heart pounding not just from the contest, but from the possibility of tomorrow. What awaited them on the other side of success? Just then, a familiar voice called out her name, halting her in her tracks. "Maria, wait!" It was Miles, rushing toward her with an intensity that both intrigued and frightened her. Whatever he had to say could alter everything. Would it push her closer to her dreams or cast doubt once again? Maria held her breath, adrenaline coursing through her veins as the world around her faded. What would he say? "Maria, wait!" Miles panted, breathless from rushing toward her. His eyes sparkled with something she couldn't quite place. Anticipation? "Hey, what?" as she started, but the words tangled in her throat as he stepped closer, locking onto her gaze. "Your speech. It was incredible," he said, his voice shaking with excitement. "You have a rare gift, Maria. I can see it now. You've got the drive, the vision, everything you need." Her heart quickened. "You really think so?" "I know so," he replied, his enthusiasm contagious. "Listen, there is something I want to propose." She braced herself. Miles was known for his ideas, wild and ambitious, often too big for their own good. "What kind of proposal?" "Let us turn your vision into reality. I'm in for your network. I believe in you. Let us work together to make this happen. It could change lives." Maria felt a rush of warmth surge through her. Here was someone who saw her not just as a cleaner, but as someone who could inspire others. But doubt flickered in her mind, like an old film reel playing over too many times. "It sounds amazing, but there are no buts, Maria. This isn't just about you anymore." He leaned in closer, urgency etched on his face. "Think about Lucas. This could give him everything he has ever wanted. A new life. The thought grounded her, pulling her in two directions. Could she do this? Could she step into a role beyond what she had always known? A shadow passed over Miles' face as he noticed her hesitation. If being a cleaner has taught you anything, it's how to hustle. Take that energy and channel it. We can make people listen, combine our ideas, resources, networks. This is the moment for your dreams. Maria closed her eyes, envisioning herself moving through the chaos, leading a chorus of voices. She longed to believe in that future. But what if I fail? What if they see me as just another statistic? Failure is an option, Miles countered, his tone growing softer. But not believing in yourself isn't. You have a chance here to change everything, not just for you, but for so many out there waiting for someone to take the lead. His words floated around her like an embracing warmth, slowly dissolving her fear. Could it be true? Was the world ready for someone like her? Over the buzz of voices around them, the announcement of contest results sliced through the air, jolting her back. "They're about to call the winners," she whispered, her pulse quickening again. "Doesn't he matter?" Miles said with a grin that made her stomach flutter. "You're already a winner in my book. Just say yes." An electrical charge coursed between them as she weighed her decision. This moment sparkled with untapped possibility, and she felt it deep in her bones. But what if this leap meant tearing away from everything stable she knew? Miles' eyes held fast to hers, waiting for her answer, hope resting on the edge of their small bubble. Before she could finish, her phone buzzed in her pocket, cutting through the charged atmosphere. She hesitated, pulling it out. "Who is it?" Miles asked, concern flickering across his face. She glanced at the screen, reading a message that sent a chill down her spine. It was from an unknown number. "We need to talk. It's about your speech." "What is that about?" Miles asked, stepping closer, urgency returning. Maria froze, heart pounding as uncertainty swelled in her chest. Who could it be? And why now? The moment was slipping through her fingers. "Maria, what does it say?" Her voice trembled slightly. "I don't know." Was this a threat or an opportunity? The once electrifying moment felt jagged, fraying at the edges. "What is going on?" Miles pressed, intuition sharp. "I don't know. But I need to find out," she whispered. A new resolve began to swell inside her. Whatever awaited on the other side, she was ready to face it, but how? Taking a deep breath, she turned to Miles, who watched her intently. "Let us do this. But first, I need answers." And there it was. Maria, on the cusp of something life-changing, stepping into the unknown. What awaited her now? Would she uncover an unexpected twist in her journey? Maria stared at the message, her mind racing. The unknown number pulsed like a beacon of uncertainty, pulling her in. She felt both dread and an odd thrill at the prospect of uncovering the mystery behind it. "Do you want me to go with you?" Miles offered, his voice cutting through her whirlwind of thoughts. "No, this is something I have to do alone," she replied, determination creeping into her tone. She remembered Lucas's face. He needed her to stand tall not just for him, but for herself. Miles nodded, and she could see the mix of support and worry in his eyes. "All right. Just be careful, okay?" With a deep breath, Maria turned and walked into the throng of people celebrating the contest results, her heart hammering in her chest. She needed to find a quiet spot, somewhere she could think. She wove through the crowd, feeling lightheaded, her dreams swirling like confetti around her. She found a small alcove away from the noise. Leaning against the cool wall, she pulled up the message again, staring at the screen. What could they want? Suddenly, her phone buzzed again, another message lighting up the screen. "Meet me at the coffee shop down the street. I'll explain everything." Eh? She mumbled to herself. So many questions. Uncertainty washed over her. Was this a trap or an opportunity? Against her better judgment, she couldn't resist the pull of curiosity. After a moment's hesitation, Maria made her way to the coffee shop, her thoughts tangled in a web of fear and hope. The bell above the door chimed softly as she stepped inside. The warm aroma of roasted coffee enveloped her, momentarily soothing her. A group of students crowded around tables, energy buzzing in the air, but she felt disconnected from it all. She spotted an empty table in the corner and took a seat, glancing at the door every few seconds. What would she do if this was indeed a scam? But a seed of determination rooted itself firmly in her chest. She wasn't going to turn away from this. Moments later, the door opened, and in walked a man she recognized from the conference, a journalist named Aaron, who had been taking notes during her speech. He approached her table, his expression serious but laced with intrigue. "Maria, thank you for coming," he said, sliding into the chair opposite her. "I know this is sudden, but I had to speak with you after hearing your speech." "About?" she asked, worried. He hesitated, glancing around as if ensuring no one was listening. "Your story. It's more powerful than you realize. Your voice, your experience, it resonates. I want to help you share it." Maria felt a rush of surprise. "Help me share it? What do you mean?" He leaned forward, intent. "You have the potential to inspire many, Maria. But you'll need to step into the spotlight. I'm talking about a feature article that could change everything." Her heart raced. "Why me?" "Because people need to see someone like you rise above all odds. Your journey could encourage others to fight for their dreams," he explained, urgency entering his tone. "But first, we need to discuss some sensitive information surrounding the contest." A knot twisted in Maria's stomach. "The contest? What did that have to do with anything? What do you mean?" "I've been hearing whispers." "Your speech got attention, and it might have unearthed something darker," he warned, his voice lowering. "There are elements involved that don't want your story out. It could be dangerous." "Dangerous?" Her mind raced back to the message about her speech. "What do you know?" She pressed, her voice a tense whisper. Aaron's gaze was serious. "I can't explain it all here. But trust me when I say that this is just the beginning for you. There are opportunities, yes, but also risks." Maria's heart pounded in her ears. She wanted to believe this was the moment she had waited for, but the stakes were mounting. Could she handle the chaos that came with it? "Are you in?" he asked, his eyes locked onto hers, searching for her answer. A wave of resolve washed over her. This felt right, but it was also terrifying. "I don't know," she breathed. "But I need answers. If I'm going to take this leap, I want to know everything." The challenge hung between them, electrifying the air. She had just stepped into a bigger world, one that could hold her dreams or her downfall. What choices lay ahead? Would she find the answers that could lead her to a brighter future, or would the shadows of danger swallow her whole? Maria could feel the weight of Aaron's gaze, digging into her thoughts, as if trying to peel away layers of uncertainty. Heart pounding, she let out a shaky breath. "What kind of risks are we talking about?" Aaron shifted in his seat, his expression strained. "I can't go into too much detail now, but let us just say there are powerful people who don't want your truth to see the light. Once you start telling your story, they may try to silence you." Chills ran down her spine. Why had she come here? That initial thrill was fading fast, replaced by a jagged fear. She glanced to the door, half expecting someone to burst in, warning her to turn back. "And you think a feature article is worth all that?" she asked quietly. Aaron leaned back, hands clasped. "It's not just about the article. It's about the impact it could have. Your journey matters, and it can lead to bigger conversations. But you must prepare yourself." Maria considered his words, feeling a mix of anger and resolve. She had been shoved aside for too long. Enough was enough. What is in it for you? She blurted out suddenly, wanting to peel away the layers of mystery surrounding him. Why help me? He rubbed the back of his neck, a flicker of vulnerability crossing his face. Honestly, I've been where you are. I fought to have my voice heard, and I believe in the magnitude of your story. People need to see someone who doesn't fit the mold, someone who breaks barriers. Maria's defenses softened slightly. You think I can actually inspire others? Absolutely, he replied, a smile breaking through the tension. Your courage is already shining through. Look at you sitting here. You took the first step. She smiled faintly, but the anxiety returned. So what is the next step? I feel like I'm standing at the edge of a cliff. There is a gathering next week. I want you to speak again, this time to a larger audience, one that matters. You'll get their attention, and I'll help structure your message. Her stomach flipped. In front of strangers? High-profile people? Exactly. But we have to be cautious. I'll guide you. The thought terrified her, yet the spark of opportunity ignited something inside. And if they react poorly? If those powerful people come after me? Then we'll handle it together. You're not alone in this, Maria. His words hung in the air, heavy with promise and threat. Could she actually trust him? She closed her eyes for a moment, imagining Lucas cheering her on, his infectious smile urging her to push forward. I'm in, she said finally, surprising herself with how steady her voice was. Good, Aaron replied, relief flooding his eyes. But we need to keep this under wraps until we're ready. If anyone finds out before we're prepared, it increases the risk. Understood, Maria said, a knot of excitement mingling with fear. So what now? Aaron took a sip of his coffee, his gaze intense. Now we need to start working on your story. I'll gather more intel on the contest, and we'll prepare for your next speech. It's time to shed light where it's needed. As they spoke, an unsettling feeling washed over her, the sensation of being hunted mixed with the thrill of a chase. The stakes were higher than she'd ever imagined. What if she opened Pandora's box, releasing chaos into her world? Besides your story, I'll also be watching for anything unusual regarding the contest, he added, his voice low and cautious. She leaned closer, adrenaline surging through her veins. You really think there is something sinister behind it? I suspect more than whispers, but I can't say for sure yet. We'll find out soon enough. With that, an unsettling silence enveloped them, thickening as they both contemplated the unknown. The coffee shop bustled around them, but their immediate world had grown small, filled only with unanswered questions and brewing dangers. Suddenly, the door swung open again, a gust of wind rushing in. Maria glanced over, feeling a tingle of foreboding course through her. Was someone watching them? Do you see that person? She whispered, nodding towards the entrance, where a figure lingered too long. Their gaze trained on her. Aaron's expression shifted from engaged to alarmed. We might need to move, he said, standing abruptly. What had she just stepped into? As they exited the coffee shop, Maria felt as if she had crossed a threshold into a storm. What awaited her in the unfolding chaos? And who else might be tracking her every move? Maria stepped out of the coffee shop, the sudden chill of the evening air biting at her skin. Aaron was a few paces ahead, scanning the street, his stance alert. She could feel the pulsing tension of the moment, a raw energy thrumming beneath the surface, like a coiled spring ready to unleash chaos. What do we do? She whispered, her voice barely more than a breath. Follow me, he commanded, moving swiftly down the sidewalk. Maria hurried after him, her heart racing not just from fear, but also from an exhilarating mix of hope and dread. She had been so desperate for change, but now that it was unfolding around her, it felt terrifyingly real. They turned down a narrow alleyway, the sounds of the bustling city fading behind them, replaced by the eerie whispers of the shadows. A street lamp flickered, and for a moment, darkness enveloped them, trapping Maria in a world of uncertainty. "Keep your head down and walk fast," Aaron instructed, his voice low. The urgency in his words sent a shiver through her. "I'll explain more when we're safe." Every step felt heavy, as if the ground itself was trying to hold her back. She couldn't shake the feeling that eyes were on her, weighing her down with a sense of impending doom. But she refused to let fear win. She was done letting uncertainty dictate her life. As they reached a brightly lit street, Aaron finally slowed, glancing over his shoulder, as if to assess their pursuer. "We should be okay here for a moment," he said, panting slightly, as if he had just run a marathon. "Now listen closely. There are people who know about you, about what you plan to do. They don't want the truth out." Maria felt a chill run down her spine. "Why me? I'm just a cleaner," she muttered, her voice shaky. "You're more than that. Your story is powerful. You've fought through challenges that most won't even face, and that's exactly why they fear your voice." He stepped closer, his eyes fierce and unwavering. "They want to silence you because your truth shines a light on their darkness." Her stomach twisted within her. What had she tumbled into? Suddenly, the weight of responsibility bore down on her. The stakes felt higher than they ever had before. What if they succeed? What if they manage to stop me? "You're not in this alone," Aaron reminded her, urgency creeping into his tone. "We fight together, remember? You have allies, people who will stand by you, but we must move fast. The spotlight gives us power, but it also attracts danger." She nodded, feeling that spark of courage ignite again. But what if it faded? What if it wasn't enough to shield her from the retaliation of those powerful people? "You've already taken the bravest step by being here, Maria," he encouraged. "Embrace the fire within you. Let it fuel your next moves. You have a voice, and it's time to use it." Extracting a small notebook, he flipped it open. "Let us work on your key messages right now. This will be your armor." As she took a deep breath, the reality of the situation settled in. This was no longer just about her story. It was about survival in a world that sought to hide the truth. For her journey to matter, sacrifices would need to be made. Before they could dive into their work, Maria caught movement to her right. Her breath hitched at the sight of a dark figure stepping into the light. Who? She hesitated, her pulse hammering in her ears. "Who is that?" Aaron's expression darkened. "We have to go. Now." Fear clutched at her heart, but determination surged alongside it. She was ready to fight, ready to reclaim her narrative, no matter the odds. What awaited her in the darkness? Was the danger lurking behind her, or was it only the beginning of a fight she was destined to win? Maria felt her heart pound in her chest as they turned to push deeper into the alley, her instincts screaming at her to run. It didn't matter who the figure was. All she knew was they had to stay one step ahead. "Come on," Aaron urged, grabbing her arm and pulling her along. They dashed past crumbling brick walls, the shadows around them morphing into a chaotic blur. Maria's mind raced, desperately trying to keep up with the whirlwind of thoughts spinning in her head. Who could be after her? What sort of truth had she stumbled into? They emerged onto another street, this one quieter but still bustling with late-night diners and wandering pedestrians. She took a second to catch her breath, her senses heightened, the world around her a loud echo of her own rapid heartbeat. She scanned the crowd, looking for familiar faces, for anything that made her feel safe, but all she saw were strangers lost in their own conversations. "Stay close," Aaron said, his voice firm but low, as they moved cautiously toward the far end of the block. "We need a plan." A sense of urgency crept back in, a mix of exhilaration and anxiety coursing through her. She was in the thick of it now. A million thoughts fought for space in her mind. What if she did have the power Aaron spoke of? What if she could unleash something that had been held down for so long? But alongside that, an equally gnawing thought returned to her: what if she failed? As they took a sharp corner into a quieter side street, Aaron stopped abruptly and turned to her. "All right, we need to get serious. You're about to go public with your story, and that means being strategic. The people after you 1T show mercy. Hiding and running 1T help," Maria replied, surprising even herself with the force in her tone. "I want to stand up. I've been stifled for too long. I 1T let them control me." Aaron studied her, his gaze fierce and searching. "That's the spirit I need to see. But we can't be reckless. You need to know who you're up against." He pulled out a small device from his pocket, a handheld recorder. "Let us start by influencing the narrative. We'll get your story out there before they have a chance to manipulate it. Speak from your heart, Maria. Channel the fire inside you." She held her breath as he pressed the button. "Whenever you're ready, just tell your truth." Gazing up at him, she saw that glimmer of faith in his eyes. Maria inhaled deeply, fighting back the whirlwind of fear and uncertainty. This was it. This was her moment. "Hi, my name is Maria," she began, her voice trembling but crystal clear. She spoke of her journey, how she declined from nothing to carve out a life filled with hope, and how the shadows of powerful figures threatened to extinguish that light. With each word, she poured herself into the recording, igniting the rush in her veins, feeling more alive than ever. As she finished, exhilaration swept through her. "That was amazing," Aaron said, a proud smile breaking over his face. "Together, we can make this count." But suddenly, her exhilaration was punctured by a chilling sound, distant shouting, growing louder. The dark figure she had seen earlier had reappeared, not alone, but accompanied by several others. Terror gripped her gut. "We need to move," she shouted, grabbing Aaron's arm. They turned to flee back into the night, the chilling realization that they were being hunted clawing at her thoughts. What would happen if they caught up? Would her story be silenced before it even had a chance to get out? "Trust me," she said, determination fueling her steps as she darted into the throng of people. If she was going to fight, she needed to survive first. But deeper down, another thought took root. Would the truth truly set her free, or was it merely a pathway to more darkness? They raced through the dense crowd, the weight of onlookers' obliviousness becoming a protective shroud around them. Maria's pulse thudded in her ears, each rapid beat a reminder of how close danger loomed. Aaron pulled her toward an open cafe, dimly lit but bustling with patrons, who were too busy with their meals and drinks to notice the panic unfolding moments away. "Sit tight," Aaron whispered, scanning the room. He guided her to a secluded corner, where the fabric of a worn couch embraced them. She felt a rush of warmth, but it was quickly shadowed by the cold dread creeping back into her bones. As they settled into their seats, Maria searched Aaron's face for a plan. His eyes darted around, vigilant and tense. Finally, he turned to her, urgency cracking through his calm demeanor. "We can't stay here long. We need to get back to safety. Your story is the light, but we need to avoid the darkness that wants to snuff it out." She nodded, swallowing hard. "What if they catch us?" Aaron took her hands, his grip firm and steady, grounding her in this chaotic moment. "Then we run. We don't stop. They can't silence you if you keep moving." His words ignited a spark within her, but the fear of being caught still gnawed at her insides. Maria's mind raced to the implications of what she had just boldly recorded. What if the truth I shared only puts us in more danger? What if I regret it? His gaze softened, the fire in his eyes dimming to a steady glow of support. Sometimes, setting your truth free is the most dangerous yet most liberating thing you can do. You've already fought so hard to find your voice. Don't let this moment slip away. Trust that you're stronger than they think. With a deep breath, Maria threw herself into the silence of the cafe, drowning out the chatter and clinking glasses. She focused on the reality she was about to step into. She was on the brink of something monumental. Before she could second-guess herself, she felt a new wave of resolve crashing over her. "I want to fight," she declared, eyes wide with determination. "But what if I don't know how?" Aaron nodded in understanding, a glint of admiration breaking through his tension. "Then we learn together. Every warrior started as a novice. You channel that fire, Maria. That is your power." Just as the words settled in her heart, a group of men entered the cafe, their shadows stretching over the patrons. Maria's breath caught, and her stomach twisted in knots. They were here. The figures were unmistakable. She could see the confident swagger and the malicious glint in their eyes. "Get ready," Aaron muttered, a fierce edge lacing his voice. "When I say go, we bolt. We can't let them corner us." Maria barely nodded, her heart racing as the men spread through the cafe, scanning faces like hawks on the hunt. Time slowed, each second stretching into eternity, as dread wrapped around her throat like a vice. 3, 2, 1, go. They leaped from their seats, cutting through the crowd as adrenaline flooded Maria's system. But as they sped past tables and dodged startled looks, a hand shot out and gripped her wrist, yanking her backward. "Gotcha!" A rough voice breathed menacingly. In a split second, Maria understood. They were no longer running from danger. They were in the thick of it. Would she have the strength to break free, or was her fight just beginning? As she glanced at Aaron, fear and determination mingled in their eyes. It was a battle they couldn't lose. And that was just the start of what lay ahead. The grip tightened around Maria's wrist, pain radiating through her arm, as the rush of adrenaline turned into sheer panic. The cafe, once a refuge, now felt like a cage. She fought against the hold, her heart hammering as she turned to look at her captor. "Let her go!" Aaron shouted, stepping forward, anger igniting in his eyes. The man, stocky and menacing, smirked, glancing over his shoulder to his companions, who were still scanning the room. "This one is too valuable to let slip away." He leaned in closer, lowering his voice. "You thought you could run with that kind of information? You're just a little girl playing at bravery." Maria gritted her teeth, summoning every ounce of courage she could muster. "I'm not afraid of you." His laughter echoed like a bell of doom, sending chills down her spine. "You'll be afraid soon enough." With a swift motion, he tugged her towards the entrance, ignoring Aaron's urgent protest. "Stop!" Aaron cried, closing the gap, but quickly finding himself held back by another one of the men. The cafe felt like it was spinning as Maria glanced between them, helpless and terrified. She could see the worried faces of patrons around her, some whispering, others looking on in shock. This wasn't just about her anymore. She was surrounded by witnesses, people who might not understand her fight. A sudden thought struck her: what if this was the moment where everything changed? Confused determination washed over her, and she pulled hard against her captor's grip. "You don't own me. I have a voice." The man's grip faltered momentarily, perhaps caught off guard by her defiance. Taking advantage, Maria twisted free and sprinted toward the kitchen door at the back of the cafe. Her heart raced with hope and fear as she ducked inside, the sounds of chaos fading into the background. The kitchen was a world of its own, buzzing with the clattering of pots and shouts from the staff. It felt safe for a split second, but she knew she couldn't linger. Behind her, she could hear the thumping of boots, the pursuit relentless. "Maria? Over here!" Aaron's voice cut through the din, and she saw him around the corner, his face set with fierce determination. Without hesitating, she raced towards him. Together, they ducked behind pallets of supplies, breathless and wide-eyed. The kitchen staff had now noticed the commotion, eyes darting nervously, unsure of whether to help or stay out of it. "Where do we go?" Maria gasped, her mind racing with possibilities. Aaron scanned the area, spotting a small door leading to an alleyway. "That's our way out. We just have to get there first." They shared a quick look, a blend of trust and urgency sparking between them. Then, they bolted, their feet pounding against the ground. Grabbing the door handle, Aaron flung it open, revealing the dim alleyway littered with trash and the distant sound of sirens. As they stepped outside, fresh air filled their lungs, and for a brief moment, they felt the weight of the world lift just enough to breathe. But then, the sound of footsteps echoed behind them, and the moment shattered. "Run!" Aaron yelled, pushing Maria ahead of him, and they took off down the alley, every step fueled by the fear that followed closely behind. Their path diverged ahead, but Maria felt the urgency coursing through her. "Which way?" she shouted, glancing back nervously. "Left. Into the park." Aaron shouted back, determination in his voice. Maria didn't hesitate. With a burst of speed, she turned the corner, her heart pounding louder than ever. But as they darted into the park, a new fear gripped her. Would they be able to outrun the shadows that threatened to snuff out their light? Little did she know, as they raced ahead, her fight was only just beginning. This wasn't merely about escaping anymore. It was about igniting a flame that had been buried deep within her. And the truth they were running from wouldn't just chase them, it would demand to be unleashed. What would the next turn in their battle reveal? Maria and Aaron plunged into the darkness of the park, the city lights fading behind them. The air was thick with tension, yet a flicker of hope flickered deep within Maria's heart. She was a survivor, a lioness ready to protect her cub. "Over here!" Aaron shouted, ushering her toward a thicket of trees. They ducked behind a bush, breaths heavy with exertion. The danger was palpable, but so was the exhilarating rush of self-discovery. "Do you think they saw us?" Maria whispered, glancing around nervously. "They might, but the darkness works in our favor," Aaron replied, his eyes scanning their surroundings. "We need to regroup and plot our next move. We can't let them intimidate us." Maria felt a surge of energy. "You're right. I won't let them silence me." The weight of fear lifted slightly, replaced by determination. Moments passed like hours, the shadows thick with uncertainty. Then, Maria took a deep breath. "What if this is it? What if I fall into their claws? Our fears can't define us." "That's what they want," Aaron insisted, voice steady. "We're more than victims. We're warriors. They don't realize who they're up against." "You're a force, Maria." The words wrapped around her like a warm embrace. Suddenly, a commotion erupted nearby. The men had entered the park. "Split up," Aaron commanded. They darted in separate directions, adrenaline pumping through Maria's veins. She sprinted through the brush, each heartbeat echoing like a war drum. Her mind raced with thoughts of Lucas. She couldn't let that future slip away. She needed to be the woman he believed in, strong, fearless, a woman driven by dreams. Streams of moonlight filtered through the trees, illuminating her path. She paused, listening to the distant shouts behind her. The power of her voice ignited a fire in her heart. She clutched her phone tightly. Aaron had urged her to be brave, to share her truth. Could it really change everything? "Maria?" A voice called from the shadows. Aaron, out of breath, bounded up to her. "They're closing in. We need to find a plan, and fast. I've recorded my story. If we can get it out, it might just rally support," Maria said, conviction filling her voice. "A broadcast? That could work," Aaron exclaimed, a spark of excitement in his eyes. "But we need to be strategic. If we can gather some allies, people who believe in your fight, we can unveil the truth together. Let us do it." Maria's fire blazed brightly. "Meet me at the old library in an hour. I'll get us some tech and make the call," he said, urgency lining his voice. They shared a determined look, a silent understanding that this was a pivotal moment. Every step would ignite the flames of change. As Erin hurried off into the night, Maria slipped away into the shadows, her heart pounding with purpose. The urgency of the moment wrapped around her, guiding her stride through the maze of trees leading to the edge of town. At home, her mind spun with possibilities. She could feel Lucas in every corner of the space, the warmth of his laughter, the innocence of his dreams. She needed to fight for them both. By the time she reached their tiny house, the comforting familiarity felt like a safeguard against the storm brewing outside. She opened her door, the creak as reassuring as an old friend. With shaky hands, she pulled out her phone. Could it really make a difference? She typed a short message, announcing her plans for a community meeting. Everyone deserved to hear her truth, and she was ready to share it. The oppressive weight that had cloaked her for so long felt lighter. As she pressed send, a surge of exhilaration flooded her. Minutes felt like hours, but when Erin arrived at the library, she was ready. He set up the equipment with focus, determination in his movements, while Maria paced restlessly, fired up by the moment ahead. She could feel the collective energy building, an army of voices ready to rise. Then, just as the sun dipped past the horizon, they went live. "Hello," Maria greeted, her voice a steady beacon. "My name is Maria, and I am here to share my story. Not just mine, but the stories of..." Countless voices silenced for too long, voices of struggle, ambition, and power. With each word, her confidence blossomed. The chat exploded with reactions, supportive comments from those who understood the struggle, people yearning to rise alongside her, an entire community coalescing around hope. As she spoke, she felt it, the invisible chains that had once held her back were shattering. She was no longer just a cleaner in a small town. She was a force, gathering strength to defy the darkness threatening her light. Every shout of encouragement cast aside her doubt. "Your truth matters." Erin cheered from behind the camera, his smile radiating pride. "Thank you," Maria continued, building momentum. "Together, we can build a network of hope. Together, we can empower each other." The chat lit up with enthusiasm, a wave of belief washing over her. "Let them come," she thought fiercely. "I am ready." Suddenly, the door swung wide open. The dark figure she feared stepped in, menacing and angry, flanked by his companions. Gasps echoed from behind her as tensions flared. But as the men approached, Maria stood tall. "You want to silence me? It'll never work." In that moment, determination glinted in her eyes, a shield against the chaos brimming in the room. Erin rushed by her side. "This is real. You can't hide," he said, voice steady. The attention turned to the darkness now. The fear had shifted from Maria to her adversaries. What had once been intimidation morphed into an awakening. With every second, the audience saw her strength, her unwavering determination, not as the cleaner they belittled, but as a woman ready to claim her rightful place. "Because no matter what you do, the truth is out," she shouted, and the echo of her own voice filled the room. Behind her, the voices of the community rose. Together, they became an unstoppable force, and in that moment, she understood, they would not simply survive, they would ignite change. "I am Maria. And I am just getting started," she declared fiercely. And with that, she turned back toward the crowd, applause echoing like a storm, enveloping her in a wave of hope. It was time for her truth to change lives. Time for others to join her journey. They had fought so hard to be seen. Now, they were unstoppable. The tide of resilience surged, and the shadows that loomed began to recede. Because unity had never felt so powerful, so ready to rise. In that moment, she realized, this was just the beginning. Now it was time to conquer the darkness together. So now, are you ready to support this powerful transformation? Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Seriously, it makes a difference. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. Let your voice be heard. and share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Show your support for the journey ahead. Don't wait not even one more second to share. It's time to stand together.